If you think about it, climbing is at the heart of cycling. We all want to ride our bikes as fast as possible uphill. Even the pros are at it. If you watch things like the Tour de France, you know that the race is won or lost in the mountains. Now when it comes to us mere mortals, when we want to ride events like the Étape de Tour, nobody wants to ride the flat stages. Everybody wants to ride the iconic climbs like Alpe d'Huez and Mont Ventoux. Unfortunately, not all of us are great at climbing. Some people look like they're just flying up the hills, while others, particularly us gravitationally challenged cyclists, seem to just plod away and find it really difficult. The good news though is that you can improve, and if you want to improve your ability, you will have to work on 4 things: your power to weight ratio, your cardiovascular fitness, your leg strength, and equally as important, your mental strength. So, for the benefit of those people that find it rather amusing to tell us heavier cyclists to lose weight, I mean like it's never occurred to us, yes, that is the obvious way to improve your climbing ability. That's because it all boils down to something called the power to weight ratio, which put very simply means that if you have a particular mass or a weight, you need a certain amount of power to get it up a climb. And if you can reduce that mass or weight and keep the power the same, the speed at which that mass will go up that climb will increase. So boys and girls, lose weight and you'll climb faster. Now the kids have left the room and it's just us grown-ups, let's talk about speed. Speed on the bike, any speed on the bike, is the product of 2 factors: cadence and gearing. Basically, if you can increase your cadence or increase your gearing or increase both, you also increase your speed. Now when we start riding our bikes uphill, a 3rd factor comes into play which makes it increasingly difficult, and that is gradient. Obviously, as the gradient of that climb increases, it's likely that your speed will also reduce, and that's because what you've actually done is either reduced your cadence or reduced your gearing or both. Now if you can keep your gearing or your cadence the same, or perhaps even increase it, you will ride up that climb just a little bit faster. Like most things in cycling, if you want to improve something, you have to do more of it, and that's particularly true of climbing. So what I would suggest here is finding a climb and riding up it at least once a week and using that as a kind of benchmark. The perfect climb is going to be very individual. Essentially what you want is something that you find a little bit challenging but not impossible. Also, it would help if it was about 2 or 3 kilometers away, and that's because by the time you get there you've had a chance to warm up. The first time you ride up your benchmark climb, don't try and push it too hard. Just ride up it and see how you go. But it's very important that you take note of a few things, namely the grade, your cadence and your gearing. And you can do all of this using your cycling computer. On this first ride, it's very important not to make too many judgments. The worst thing you can do is think to yourself that you're going really slowly. It's not about how fast you go right now, it's all about how much you can improve. The next time you ride up that climb, try to increase one thing, either your cadence or your gearing. So for instance, if you rode up with a cadence of 70, try to increase your cadence to about 75. And similarly, if you rode up in your lowest gear, try to ride up in your next lowest gear. But it's very important here not to try to do both. Do one or the other. If you choose to increase your cadence, you'll actually be improving your cardiovascular system. And similarly, if you choose to increase your gearing, you'll be improving your leg strength. For what it's worth, I'll mention my handy 5 rev rule here, which says if you increase your cadence by 5 revs, you can afford to drop your gearing by 1 cog and still maintain the same speed. And similarly, you can increase your gearing by 1 cog and decrease your cadence by 5 revs for the same result. Ideally, to get maximum benefit and improve your overall climbing ability, you will need to focus on both aspects. But what you could do here is say 1 week focus on increasing your cadence, and then the following week focus on increasing your gearing. And then when you're feeling fit enough, you could probably even focus on improving both at the same time. I'll be honest here and say that climbing is not an exact science, and there are so many things that can influence your speed up a climb. It can be external factors like weather or traffic, but it could equally be internal factors like how you're feeling. Maybe you haven't had a good night's sleep. Maybe you've not had a good day. Maybe you've had a dose of nag pie from your other half. All of those things will come together and make it slightly more difficult for you to climb. The important thing though is that you keep an eye on your numbers and you see an improvement over time. The final honest truth about climbing though is that it's never going to be easy. You personally can improve your climbing ability no end, and all that will mean is that you'll be looking for your next challenge. So a steeper gradient, a longer climb, or you'll be looking to ride up your favourite climb in a faster time. Thanks for watching.